Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting phenomenon.
The clothing brand.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come.
When I was a freshman in college, it was the first time I spent a lot of money on a singular clothing item. I was doom scrolling eBay because that's where you would go and get streetwear. You couldn't get on Grailed and you couldn't go on Depop. Those apps were like very niche and they didn't have really a lot of inventory. I saw images of a Babe Puma collab. It was mainly camo print items and I really wanted it because it screamed Babe. Like I wanted something that showed Babe because I was spending a lot of money on it. That was my logic. It was never like, let me get something not branded and stuff and something that fits my aesthetic. I was like, I want this.
Fuck it, this Supreme? Fuck it. What's up? The Avis here. What's up? Banging on my chest. What up? The Avis here.
And it was a lot of money for a college kid. I was like, I'm going to spend $250. I want to make sure everyone knows I spent
$250 on this crew neck.
After scrolling eBay for hundreds of hours, I found one a little bit under retail, around $225. I anxiously transferred the money from my savings to my checking. I told myself I would never, ever do this again. It was insane. Like, why did I just spend $250 on a crew neck?
So your total comes out to be $7,643.09.
Them dunks was like 4 bands. Now you can take them joints off. That's like a 05 Honda.
This would lead me to a string of major clothing purchases ranging from $500 to $1,000. I didn't even do it for a year, and this led to a major shopping addiction that put me into
Crippling credit card debt.
During this time, I wanted to go to
Fashion school.
I was in Kentucky at a small private high school college, and the ruminating thoughts of no one understanding me or having nothing to talk about with other people because I was so obsessed with fashion. And the most rational thought was to feel connected to clothes, I need
to buy more clothes. I
have to have more clothes and signal to people that I know what I'm talking about. And again, that led to a major string of horrible purchases. While buying these expensive designer clothes, many of my friends told me that I should start a clothing brand. I thought maybe this would be a way to get more clothes, right? Just like the most logical thing to do. Make clothes so you can have other people send you clothes. Like I was dead set on this idea. Well, not going to fashion school or any kind of marketing school or having any experience in that, I was struggling to find a logo or a brand name and I just gave up. I really didn't want to make clothes at the time and it ended pretty fast. I just wanted to have brands attached to my body so people would understand that I was into fashion. Now let's talk about TikTok side hustle culture.
I hate modern side hustles.
But first we have to get into pre-TikTok side hustle culture.
Where the fuck my blunt? Where the fuck?
When I was in high school, pre-COVID, a lot of kids wanted to become rappers. That was the way to make it out of your situation. SoundCloud was huge and people would try to get other kids to stream your music. People would pay you like $5 to like follow them on SoundCloud or follow them on Apple Music, Twitter to like promote their brand.
Hey man, can you rap? Nah.
And you could tell that most of these kids wanted to do it to pursue some financial endeavor. And you can tell that the music just sounded awful. It sounded soulless. It sounded lifeless. It was literally what you would call today as a cash grab. And the funny thing is I guess you just see like rappers and stuff that have a lot of money and flaunt their wealth, all these things that they get. And a lot of the money that comes in making music is through like sponsorships, appearances. Like people don't make money on tours. They don't make money on streams really. When TikTok came into the fold, people quickly took to the musically derived app and made it a way to make money. In 2022 to 2023, people were starting to make clothing brands into these massive side hustles. It was a way to become financially free. And this is where we enter QUAN. QUAN is a 22-year-old internet personality. I first caught wind of him when it broke that his streetwear brand was making 6 to 7 figures. And he was just really making a lot of money. Like once you start making a lot of money, you're obviously, people are going to be talking about you, like, how do I make the same thing out of thin air, you know? And the clothing brand he created was called Cozy. It looks okay. I mean, it looked fine. As of recording this, there's also allegations that he's just ripping off other, you know, brands such as Vetements seen in this photo. I mean, it looks fun and interesting. It looks very cactus plant flea market derivative, streetwear inspired, colors, vibrant, you know, nothing to harp at, honestly. There's even some smiley face motifs that are just very reminiscent of cactus plant flea market. When I look at the brand, that's all I can think about, honestly. With QUAN's clothing brand, it apparently sold out. And when I say sold out, he sold out of the pre-orders. And what a pre-order allows a brand to do, it allows you to pretty much take all the money from Shopify, your Shopify store, you know, give it to you, and then you order the clothes from whatever factory you're getting them from, and then you can ship it out. Well, something happened in this pre-order process where QUAN got the money, but like the manufacturer was taking forever to get the clothes to the customers. So it became kind of a meme that like you were not getting your Cozy hoodie. I can't believe it, Jesus. I can't believe it, Jesus. Like you can like pretty much say bye-bye to your hoodie. You're not getting it because that was his most popular item, the Cozy hoodie. And it wasn't like he was just not, he wasn't doing anything wrong. Like he was going to get it delivered, but it was just going to take 12 to 18 months to get it delivered. This, you know, is obviously a recipe for disaster. QUAN is looking like a leprechaun with his, you know, golden pot of cash and money while no one has gotten their hoodies. And people are getting pissed. People are saying that he's a scammer. And this actually happened to me once on Brockhampton merch. I had ordered something and it just never shipped, and I emailed Brockhampton and pretty much they were saying like, hey, when you sign up, like if you don't get it within 6 months, like SOL. So I mean, I've been burned on a pre-order situation, but I've never, you know, I don't buy merch like that. And his is more of a merch brand. He has a following. So it isn't like these, you know, clothing brands because they love the fashion. He has a YouTube of almost 750,000 subscribers. And that's where the fashion brand and the side hustle kind of merged together. QUAN's content prior was more like luxury related. His first big video, it seems like, that popped off was him buying a Hellcat. Maybe that's with the Cozy money or whatnot, but he wasn't really into the fashion of it all. Like
John Luke? The pants are Prada, the jacket's Celine.
No, the artistry of it all. He is more of like, look at my lifestyle, which there's no problem with that content. It's just like he really isn't like day in the life of a fashion designer, day in the life of this, or, you know, watch me sew this thing. It's pretty much like, look at my girl, she's bad as hell. Look at the Land Rover, the Urus I'm in, and let's drive off a cliff with our, you know, mounds of cash. He's very much like kind of in the same lane of like the Kai Cenats, the Duke Dennises of the world, very connected to certain people and just flexing your money, which again, no problem with that. And honestly, as I look through his content, he would make a great Atlanta episode. Just take that as face value. All I gotta say is that if Atlanta was still going, Donald Glover would have a field day with QUAN and his content. And I think people started to get their hoodies, but a 12 to 18 month wait time for a derivative of cactus plant flea market is kind of insane. With QUAN being a content creator, he documented how, you know, he got this money and stuff, and everyone else was just like, how do I do this? If this guy did it, if this normal guy did it, then how do I make $1 million off of my clothing brand? And this is where we get into being a fashion designer is the new side hustle. And honestly, within like weeks of months of going into 2023, just like, I think there was about 400 different clothing brands I saw on my For You page. And a lot of these brands are just like the rap, very soulless, very lifeless. There's no artistry behind this. And with like the Y2K aesthetic being still a thing in like 2022, 2023, just very piss poor Y2K font hoodies that just say the most random shit. And you'll see some on the screen, but just nothing to them. And you can kind of see the comparisons at this point. The shitty rap, the shitty clothing brand. They're just trying to produce. And it even got to the point where Quan himself was reviewing these clothing brands, and you can tell he's like, what kind of monster have I created with this clothing brand? Like, people are sending him some of the most god-awful clothes that I have ever seen.
Hey. Got double O in the front, R in the back.
It's just, if you're going to start a clothing brand, you have to realize that you are not going to make money right out the gate. This isn't just some 3 to 6 month process that gets you from making $2,000 every 2 weeks to $20,000 every 2. Let's get into Virgil Abloh. He has a quote or a saying that has honestly rotted and made this clothing side hustle thing even worse.
Where did you get this job?
I dreamt about it. I willed it into fruition, thinking that it can happen and doing everything in my power to sort of make it cross.
And this combined with the QUAN situation, it really made people think that they were the next Virgil Abloh, the next Kanye West, and that's Mason Margiela. They really ran with it, and everyone wanted to open up a shop. Everyone wanted to open up, a clothing brand, or everyone has their clothing brand linked to their TikTok shop this, blah, 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 blah. Like everything else in 2020 and beyond, it goes by so quick. Making a successful clothing brand is insanely hard to do. Even QUAN, he has 750,000 subscribers on YouTube and probably 1 million on TikTok. If he does 5% of sales to, his following base, that's anywhere from 25 to 50,000 sales. And, you're making probably $10 profit. It adds up quick. I could definitely see him making a shit ton of money off of his brand. And some people don't even have, 50,000 followers combined on all their platforms. So it's how are you reaching these people? You're not going to make the same amount of sales. And when you can't sell as much, your profit margin becomes less and less. And this video isn't to shit on anyone that wants to make a clothing brand. I think if you truly want to do it for not the money and for good reasons, you can be really successful at it at any level. But you have to achieve certain things with your brand. Does it spread a message that you want to send to people? Do you want to have a community of people where, you get connected and stuff? Something I'm doing with content creation, I want to bring a community of people that, have the same music taste, the same fashion taste, and bring them together and just talk and, hang out. That's what I want to do with this channel. And I think you can do similar things with a fashion brand, but you got to want to do it for that reason. You're not going to make $15,000 a month just by putting out regurgitated bullshit. And these brands have become such a cash grab that it just kind of makes me a little wary of the future of streetwear. When you have all these people that see it as money, when you had people like Virgil and you have people like Pharrell Williams and you have other designers that make really good luxury streetwear stuff and have really good products. And there's probably so many designers now that are on TikTok or any social media that make really good quality stuff, but they're being pushed down because everyone else is trying to do this as a cash grab. It's gotten so bad that there are content creators that are selling courses on how to make a fashion brand. So one YouTuber I follow, Cameron, he calls them course merchants, and it's honestly the best way to describe these grifters. But there's one in particular, probably the most popular one. His name's Caprice that I've seen. And he teaches people how to make a clothing brand. You pay and you get, I guess you pay for your ticket to fly somewhere. And he as I've seen, he just kind of lectures people on how to make a successful clothing brand, which I'm
I paid $5K to go to Caprice's masterclass. He started off with a rundown of everything, and then he did a lot.
I get it because it looks like he has a good following. He makes okay clothes, nothing I would ever wear, but it just doesn't seem authentic. Like if you're looking for this stuff, I feel like you can get all this stuff online. I mean, even Virgil, after, you know, him trying to get everyone to make a brand too, like he even has like a free version of this on a website. And I guess this is just a heads up for anyone that watches this. If someone is trying to sell you a course on anything, it's usually a scam. I mean, like the courses of real estate, day trading, making millions of dollars within 6 months, it's just not feasible. Like, unless you have like a billionaire family, it's just not reality. And all these people are just promoting this like lifestyle to like the Grant Cardones of the world and all the other financial grifters. I mean, there's going to be these people in all different aspects of like any kind of subject matter. I guess piggybacking off of just buying courses to make, you know, X amount of money in 6 months, do stuff because you love it. Don't do things because of like the possible money of it all, because that leads you down a world of hurt so fast, because 99% of the time you don't make the money. You're putting all this effort into something you really don't like. So avoid all things that are like quick money grabs and do stuff because you love it. If you like something that, you know, that possibly can make you money, like that's great. We all have to make money, but avoid these like crazy scams. I guess the last thing is, this isn't to tell anyone to not have a fashion brand or make clothes, but there are going to be so many obstacles and so many ups and downs before you do make it profitable that you have to love it and you have to sacrifice a lot to do this. So it's more so do something because you love it and find ways to monetize that thing if you really, you know, want to make that a career, or do something as a hobby. We don't have to monetize every single aspect of our life. All I gotta say is that if you do something for loving it and not like a financial gain of it, then at the end of the day, it will all work out. If you've gotten this far, thank you so much. It means the actual world that you've gotten this far, and it helps, you know, get this pushed in the algorithm. And pushing things through the algorithm, please like, dislike, comment, subscribe, you know, tell me your thoughts about this. Am I being too harsh? Am I being not harsh enough? Let me know, and hopefully you stay around for more videos.